I guess they can hear us now.
Now we're live. All right, Jenna, what's happening tonight?
Yo, epic conversation with the godfather of Philippine
OG.
Superbike, Miguel
Godfather.
Bichara.
Yeah.
Mahaba-haba
Makes me so
Ninong.
old.
Hoy,
I'm only,
Ninong.
I'm only 35, ha?
nung bata pa ako, doon ako sa tapat ng bahay nila unang nakakita ng Hayabusa.
Ah,
Bahay nila sa
Wow.
Bicol.
Ay, nako. Oh, yes. Those are my cousins. My first cousins.
Anong edad?
Hey guys.
Mga 12.
Ah. All right, so
Ah.
that's spoiler.
Eh,
Ay,
13
abuso
lang,
na pala
ako,
noon.
13 lang ako that time eh. Kung 12 ka,
Ah.
13 ako.
Sa probinsya, maaga sila nagmomotor eh.
Bichara,
Millennial din
you
pala si
cope?
Miguel.
Do I what?
I don't know why I call you Bichara. I don't even call you Migs or Tito Migs or Miguel or anything. I'm just
Oh,
like
so Tito
MB
Mix.
or
Sorry, Tito Mix
Bichara.
pala.
Hindi, kay dad ko yan. So,
Yeah.
Miggy. Dapat.
Miggy. We can start that. But I don't know. I see a lot of people calling him Tito Migs. Like, what's with that, man?
No, because some of these are young guys. The young guys, they to go out of respect, they say Tito Mix, and they're
Mana
young.
lang.
So,
Diba,
Okay lang.
Alvin D calls you Tito Mix,
Kakainis.
diba?
ha?
Alvin D calls you Tito Mix, diba?
Loko yun, hoy.
I don't find it bagay. I think they do it out of irony.
Magwala ka pag si Aris na yung tumawag sa yung Tito Migs.
Nako. Anak ng pinapa.
Ayoko matawag ng tito ni Aris. Iba na yun pag ganun.
Oh, there's a
Alright.
lot of drama now, huh? What do you guys think of yung tae content?
Ay,
That
so-
seems to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bichara, what do you think of that? Do you see any of that at all? Are you
Yeah,
too
I see
busy?
that. I see that on, of course, I see that on Facebook. I mean, yeah, they post it.
Masyado
So-
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's silly. I mean, saying those things on, saying it live, and I mean, putting it in social media and all that.
What do you
Yeah,
think
it-
about people broadcasting their top speeds and videos?
Yeah, I think they shouldn't do that. I mean, if they do, they should cover the speed. I mean, I see a lot of bloggers. Doing that, even in the US. In the US, I watch a few guys. I follow a few guys here in the US, and yeah, they go way over 100 miles per hour, and they'll jail you when you do that if they know. They can.
Ngayon lang sila nakapagmotor eh.
Oo nga eh. Ito. Ngayon lang sila.
All right. Welcome. We've got the perfect bike night tonight. We've got Jenna bringing in the chaos and the nosebleeds. And coming from me,
And the nosebleed.
if somebody can make people's nosebleed more than me, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, that's true.
We've got Jolly bringing in the pastries and the happiness, which is why he's known as Jolly Cakes. We've got Buck bringing the sausages, which is literal. He does make some really great sausages. And our Tunay Na Rider of the week tonight is none other than Tito Miggy.
Where?
Miguel
Where's Tito?
Bichara.
Where's Tito Miggy?
I did not expect that.
Ayun naman,
The one and
patito.
only.
The one and
The one and
only.
only.
Patito
Miguel
Miggy.
Bichara.
The OG.
The godfather of
the
superbike
godfather of riding.
motorsport.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the most legit cafe racer I know. Actually.
Wow.
Why?
like
What?
our-
Hindi naman. Marami naman
naabutan
dyan.
niya
There are
yun.
others naman with legit cafe racers. Meron din. Hindi lang ako.
Yeah, but
Hindi lang ako.
you got the the riding style too.
No,
So it's the
hindi
perfect
yun. Thank you.
combination.
There are others that have better bikes, and meron din,
Pero
meron
ano
din.
yun? I think what Jen is saying, it's not about kung cafe racer ba talaga yung bike mo. It's the cafe racer lifestyle.
Oh, that's
Yeah, but the old kind, like the old kind when you like
Respect
soup up
naman,
your
Jenna.
own
Hindi mo old.
bike.
oh
Huwag
yeah.
naman yung ano, parang, Jenna, para
Come
naman
on.
pinapalabas mong 1960s pa yung nag-ride.
Gawin mo retro na
Alright,
lang.
hold on, hold on.
Retro. Tama. Retro.
Yeah.
Anyways, we
Yan na.
digress.
Before Jenna brings us down the moto chaos hole,
Sorry.
Jolly, we gotta say a few things, right?
Ayun, before we start the chaos, pag-usapan muna natin yung ating sponsors, which is yung Podmetrics. So, Podmetrics is a tool that we use that helps us monetize our podcast. So, Podmetrics is a platform that allows us to have full control of how we monetize our podcast. So, we can collab with brands and choose between many merchants that fits our podcast's audience. Then, we can track down our listeners and convert how much we have earned in real time. So, cashing out is a breeze. So, if you're a podcaster or anyone who wants to monetize their podcast or advertise the podcast, punta kayo
Haba
sa
pa rin.
Podmetrics.
Edit.
Inedit ko. Iba, nabawasan ko na isang paragraph to.
Dude, we lost
So-
like 5 people viewing.
So, yan.
Mag-Bitcoin na lang tayo.
So, magpo-post kami sa link sa description, yung mga para Podmetrics, tapos gamitin yung code na all caps Tunay Na Rider. So, yung mga...
Yeah.
No, but
Amen.
in all honesty, Podmetrics has helped us get here. It's also helped us become the #1 moto podcast, legitimately proven, and being one of
In
the
the
top
Philippines.
and being one of the top 100 podcasts in the Philippines, right? So that's pretty cool. Thanks, Podmetrics.
Yun.
Yun, we've got a lot of people in the room tonight. Let's see. Si Maynard.
Ito si Tito Bing.
Bing Bassett.
Si Tito Bing.
Maynard.
Garage King's here.
Si
Yun.
Boss Nico. One of the good ones.
Medyo marami-rami nanonood sa YouTube ah.
Oo nga.
May nanonood
Tatlo,
sa YouTube?
4.
So, ano to
Alright.
iba yung ano natin, iba ang episode natin ngayon, hindi to ang typical Tunay Na Rider episode. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an epic long story spanning decades.
Yun.
What?
Naghanda kami ng slideshow para sa inyo lahat.
Isang
Yeah,
decade lang ako. Isang decade lang.
35 lang si Miguel.
Oo, 35. So, 1 decade lang. So,
He's only owned 35 bikes. All right. So yeah, as we let's start it as we usually do, and then I will hand the reins over to Jenna. So let's cue the pictures and take us back in time, Miguel, to when you started riding motorcycles.
Wow. Well, as you can see in that photo, that's me sitting on a Vespa. And that's my late brother, Rafi, on my mom's right side. My dad used to ride a Vespa because they used to live in Sandejas in Pasay. And he would go to school using the Vespa. And all the Bicharas were on Vespas and Lambretas before. In fact, I have a friend that has the Vespa of my dad.
Wow.
Yeah. And a mistake that we sold those Vespas before. I had one. And then I sold it lang yata. I think siguro 20 years ago or 25 years ago, we were living in Bel Air. I think we sold it. Wala pa kasi dito Vespa eh. So parang I felt like yung parang Bombay na Indian na naka-Vespa or something. So feeling, ano ba to? Bebenta ko na. I sold it for 16,000 and now that Vespa fully restored is like 300,000. Ano ba?
Wow.
It was like a
Biling ko
1969 Vespa, yung parang handlebar pa with one light and sayang. And I would bring it to this place in Evangelista in General Caelia Street where they restore Vespas. That's where I would bring it.
Whoa.
Sayang. So it was one of those Vespas.
These are probably the first and cutest baby moto pictures we have ever had on the show. So that's gotta be this is an award-winning first for Tunay Na Rider. All
Who
right.
is
thank you.
older? Which one of you is older, by the way, you and Rafi?
My late brother was older by a year.
So growing up, you were already, gaining interest in motoring, just being
Yeah,
around.
we were
stuff.
exposed to it. We were exposed to it a lot. So when to a certain age, I remember I would ask my dad to take me around. Make me a cast. Dad, I want to go around. So he takes us around. I can tell he was getting tired doing it because after it was me, it was my brother naman. So he would take us around. So,
Para walang inggitan.
fatherly duties, that he has to do. But yeah, that's how I got exposed to two wheels. And then eventually, my dad got a motorcycle when I was in high school, and he got a motorcycle for himself, a CB754, that was a 1975 model. So when I was going to school in San Agustin, I would take the motorcycle to school. I would actually, without my dad knowing, I would actually wear his jacket, wear his helmet, get on the bike. We were living in Merville. Tapos aalis ako, pupunta ako sa San Agustin High School.
Jolly,
Kasi
show the CBs.
may mga babae doon. So syempre, when they see me, Miguel, hangkas, bigalon. They go, hangkas. That's
Wait a
where the fun
minute.
begins. That's where the fun
Are you
begins.
saying that, that photo with the two CBs and the Z1000? Are you saying one of them was your dad's?
No, that's the older one. There was a picture of my dad on a CB750, and then my uncle on a CBX 1000. That CB754.
Okay. Next
You-
picture, Bianca.
Do you have the CB?
Yun.
Oh, wait.
Yun.
That's
That
his
was my
bike.
bike in the 80s. That was my
80
bike in
cent,
the
80 cent.
80s.
That's
80s
that's
man.
sick.
That was my bike
This is
in the
actually one of
80s.
my dream bikes.
That was in Merville, where we used to live. In the 80s, I had that bike. So
And you
that's,
lost track of it. It's so sayang.
yeah, sayang. That's worth something now. Well, I know a guy who has one of those sitting in his house in Alabang Hills, and he's selling
really?
it, but it needs a lot of work lang. But yeah, he's got one. He's got one.
Di ba yun yung nakatambak sa garahe mo?
Oo.
Oh, there you go.
Do you guys have do you have the Freddie Spencer color?
Well, my friend had it in those pictures. One of them had the Freddie Spencer, the silver one with the blue stripe.
Let's see it.
It's
Jolly, are you in
900?
control?
Bianca
CB900
is.
F yun, di ba? Yung sa'yo ba?
F.
No, the Z1000 one, like the one with the 3 bikes.
Yung,
Is that there?
Yung number
It's
4.
there.
Yung 4
It's on
Bianca.
the, there. It's
Look
up
at
there.
all-
Up
look-
there. The one up there. That
Yan.
one.
Whoa.
That was taken in the mid 80s. My late brother, a friend of mine, and I, we went to Baguio, and those are what they call UJMs, Universal Japanese Motorcycles.
Yeah.
So that was
And
the
considered super bikes.
Yes, they were the original super bikes. Those were the bikes being raced by Eddie Lawson, Wayne Rainey, Freddie Spencer. Those were the super bikes of before. So those are the bikes worth collecting now.
Oh, here's a
Really?
question. You tried your brother's Z1000. Like, what's the
yeah.
difference? You didn't?
Z1000 was stronger. It's a 1000. It's a twin cam engine. It's a 1000 cc. My bike was a CB754 twin cam also, but not as strong as the Z1. Remember, the Z1s were used in all the Mad Max films. I don't know if you watched Mad Max long ago.
Yep.
Yeah, you
They
can
were
get a
using
replica of
Kawasaki's.
those.
Yeah, the first Mad Max movie of Mel Gibson, filmed in Australia. All Z1s.
Ganda na. At saka dun sa picture niya yan, parang wala ako nakikitang helmet
De meron.
Wait, tingnan
We
natin.
just come from the hotel, nag-picture taking. Meron kaming helmet. It's somewhere there, but we were just using shorts going around Baguio.
Iba talaga pag Honda, no? Pwede sakto lang, kaya nga nag-shorts para maramdaman nila yung init ng makina.
Walang init yan. The manifolds in front, the carbs. It's the carbs that's behind you, near your crotch. It's the carbs. There's no heat. There's really no heat.
And is the bike in the middle what inspired the Z900 RS?
Hindi pa.
No, not that.
No.
That's
Z1.
Older
newer.
pa.
Older pa.
Oh.
Older pa.
Z1
Older
yung
pa.
yung Z900. Ay, tama ba? Oh, tama.
Yeah, they call it Z1. They call it Z1. You know the history of that bike, the Z1, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Parang ano yan,
it was
yun yung-
supposed to be launched in 1969, but
Oh my God, what?
Honda beat them to it. Honda came out with the 1969 CB754, the first four-cylinder single overhead cam, the first hydraulic disc brake motorcycle, the first electric start motorcycle in 1969. But Kawasaki had the Z1 ready to come out in a 750cc version. You know what happened?
And they're like, never mind.
Naunahan yung
Nope.
Honda. Naunahan yung Honda. So, syempre, Z1 had to wait a few years. They waited. Then they came out with a 903cc called the Z1 in 1972.
It was 903.
903cc, and that creamed the Honda because it was a twin cam engine, four-cylinder, 903cc. Si Bak yung Honda dyan sa Kawasaki. That was the start of the superbike era.
Ganda nung ano eh, ang ganda nung era nung Japanese yun eh. Kasi ang tindi nung ano nila eh. Parang kung nagko-Cold War nung panahon sila, may arms race sila ng mga inter-Japanese brand na arms race.
At saka pumasok din ng BMW They came out with the R90S. Okay? The BMW R90S. The Sunburst color, that was a super bike also. That was racing against this bike.
That's Luigi Santos's bike, right?
Correct. That's Luigi Seasons. Luigi Seasons.
Season Santos.
Yeah.
So, kilala niyo pala si
Dino has
Luigi.
the CB. So
Nakapila
Dino
sa
has
akin yung
the
R90S niya.
CB. Luigi has the R90S. You should get the Kawasaki.
Tapos mag-track day kayong tatlo.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna shoot that.
Oh wait, I just want to say
Sumabog ang makina.
we're gonna be giving some stuff away tonight, so you better be taking notes because it's gonna be based on the
Trivia?
History quiz.
history quiz, right?
Meron tayong madali lang yung quiz natin, iba 10 items lang tapos right minus wrong.
No wait,
Alright,
wait.
next
What was the bike that had the first electric start?
Honda, the CB754 in 1969.
Yon. Keep that in
1969.
mind.
Because Triumph had their Bonnevilles in 68 and in 66 and 67, but they were drum brakes front and rear. Then Honda Japan comes out with a disc brake in front and a drum brake at the back and electric start. And comes out with the first four-cylinder motorcycle. You can Google it. 1969 CB754. And people were raving about that bike because of the first four-cylinder super bike. Imagine to see four cylinders.
Yung
And they're so expensive
CB750 na
now.
yun eh. Yung since unang disc brake siya. Kasi normally sanay tayo sa mga 5mm, 4mm na disc brake. Yung CB750 parang 8mm yata yung disc nun eh.
Yeah, parang makapal. 8mm yung
Makapal
thickness
talaga,
ng rotor. Yes. 8mm
Kasi
yung thickness ng rotor.
Yung manufacturers yata ng mga brakes nung panahon, hindi pa nag-specialize sa motorcycles.
Pangkotse.
Mga pangkotse.
True. Mahina mga preno, pero kahit disc brake mahina, pero it was better than a drum brake. It was definitely better than a drum brake. Then eventually people would convert that to they change yung brake lines to stainless steel braided brake lines, pinapalitan nila yung brake pad. Pero still disc brake pa rin, and the brakes improved, and they were racing those bikes. They use it for touring and
Are these like the first big bikes you've ridden?
Yeah, one of the first big bikes I've ridden. I used to have an uncle that used to have a Suzuki GS750, and he used to go to San Agustin also to pick up his daughter, and I would literally wait for him. That was in 1979. Would you believe 1979? I would literally wait for him because I knew he was coming. He would tell me, I'm going to San Agustin to pick up my daughter. So I'll be there with my Suzuki. So I would be like, I'm going to wait. So I would wait. You know why? Because he would make me use it. He would lend it to me and I would go around Dasmariñas village.
Oh my God, how old were you?
Well, 79. I was siguro in my...
Walang ganyan
You were too young, basically, to do it legally. Is this the same uncle with the CBX?
Yes, same guy.
Do you have the CBX photo, Jolly?
I think it's there.
Andyan yan.
I think it's there somewhere.
There's a funny
Wait lang.
story about this.
Check ay Bianca. Yung Bianca, yung picture number... Wait lang ha. Hanapin lang natin ng ating archives.
Wait, let's not do this. Let's just go
Okay.
in order of
Ano,
the pictures
archives?
and then let's talk about it. All right, let's look at picture number 4.
Ayan. Medyo yung picture number 4 nagsawa na yata sa mga big bikes si
Okay, hindi talaga. Hindi ako nagsawa sa big bikes. Okay.
Italjet
If
ba
you look
yan?
at the
What
date,
is that?
it
That's a
says
bet art?
4. If you look at the date, it says 4801. That was in 2001. I was racing scooters, maxi scooters in Subic. Wala pang racetrack sa Clark. Wala pang racetrack sa Clark. Ang racetrack lang is Subic and BRC. Okay?
And you told us this is a Galera.
And that is a Gilera 180
Gilera
SP, and I was racing other guys that are using modified scooters. So, yan sa Subic, kumakarera rin ako ng kotse. I was joining, 2001, I was joining the Miata Cup Series. And that same race weekend, naka-scooter din ako. Kumakarera akong scooter.
So dalawang
You guys have the
dalawang
Miata
karerang sabay mong sinalihan.
Dalawa.
We have the photo of this Miata race car.
I was racing my Mazda Miata, my turbocharged Mazda Miata in that same weekend. And that same weekend, halo yung kotse at saka motor.
Turbocharged Miata versus supercharged ones.
I have a
Yes.
question.
Well, it's different categories, no? Different categories naman because you can't race a supercharged
class.
Miata versus a normally aspirated
Yeah, that's
Miata.
not fair.
It's unfair. It's unfair. So,
And you were kicking ass and taking names. And everyone was like,
You're you're crossing different genres of motorsport.
Yes.
How can you be successful in both of them?
well, kaya naman, but ang problema lang is like what I said, no? I mean, my sponsor, my car racing sponsor, of course, the car was a more expensive thing to sponsor. They didn't like the idea that I was racing a scooter during the same race weekend because they said, kung ma-aksidente ako, I break my shoulder, how can I drive my car and race for them? Right? So I
Yeah.
said, they were saying, Miguel, anong ginagawa mo? Ba't kumakarera ka ng scooter? May karera tayo ng kotse. Sabi ko, sponsored din ako sa mga scooter. And then I like to racing the scooter. Don't worry, nothing will happen. I tell, nothing will happen. Promise, don't worry. No, thank God nothing happened. So anyway, I finished that year in the scooter. That's my scooter. As you can see in the picture. I was racing against these guys with other 180s. That's mountain
Hexagon
bike, Philippine mountain bike,
Hexagon.
Ricky Montelibano. So I was racing against them. So I got second overall. I think Carlo, guy who won was Carlo something. He got first place. I got second, third overall in the championship. But still, it's rough. I raced that weekend. So,
but in the Miata, you got first.
yeah, in the Miata naman, I won the championship that year.
So I have a question.
2001.
Pakita natin yung next
Do
picture.
you guys
ng
have a
Miata.
photo of the Miata? The Miata, bring it up.
What is more difficult and what's more fun?
Okay, ganito. When I was racing the Miata, okay, my Miata, that Miata on the photo was turbocharged, okay?
Wow.
There was a shop called Car Shack. And this guy, they set up my car. So, pare gastos. So, ginastosan ko yung kotse. I raced it. I raced it in my category, in the modified class. So, when I was racing it, then I was winning. I was pole. I was winning. And the guys I was racing with, I don't want to mention their names, but they know who I am. They had Miatas that time. And they were racing their Miatas, So, and it was in the modified class. So I started winning first place, every race. And then they were all saying, one of them was saying, si Miguel, kaya na nanalo yan kasi kumakarera ng motorsiklo yan. So cars for him is nothing. Which is true. Honestly, I found the cars mabagal. Ang bagal ng karera ng kotse. Compared to
I can understand
superbikes.
that.
I mean,
Power
in a
to weight
motorcycle,
ratio.
Correct. Power to weight ratio. Ang layo. No way. No comparison. Acceleration pa lang. You're accelerating so hard. I mean, you're scraping your knees in the corner. Sa kotse, nasa loob ka, naka-roll bar. Come on. So I felt, bagal nito . Even if it's turbo. That's why I was winning. They were all, we had a camera at the back, and I was leaving the guy way behind, and they were all saying, karerista kasi ng motor yan. So I felt good that my motorcycle racing skills, I used it in my car racing skills, but I found the car mabagal. Depends on the car. Siyempre, the car I was using was a Miata. I mean, it's not a Formula 1 car. Iba naman
Hi,
ang Formula 1 or
Dino.
something, di ba?
Dino
Dino's here to
Santos
make
in the
you
house.
SR.
Sabi ni Dino, that's my brother.
Yeah, he's,
They're neighbors too.
I love the guy. He's actually younger than me, but he's my kuya.
I know what you mean. I could see that.
Kuya,
Anyways,
I
a lot
asked him
of
question. Yeah.
a lot of
Go. Yeah.
motorcycle racers crossed over to cars. Like Mike Hillwood has a nickname among Formula 1 drivers. They called him the bike. It's an example. A lot of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, Mike the bike. Yeah. They do. Yeah,
Mike
so many guys moved from motorcycle racing to car racing, and then eventually also guys who went to car racing went into motorcycle racing. But it's different. It's different. It's completely different. And if you come from the
Ooh.
bikes and you start racing, you'll feel the difference. Okay, this was taken in Total Alabang, Commerce Avenue. So behind me is where Petron is supposed to be. Wala pang
Yeah.
Petron sa likod ko. That's Petron. Supposed to be Petron. That's my wife, Raisa. She's
I love your
trying to make
suit.
hangkas. That's
Gosh,
that's
that
an
suit
arrow
is
stitch. It's
amazing.
an American suit. It's called an arrow stitch. Init.
It's
Ang
beautiful.
init
Even
niyan.
your helmet.
It's an ordinary showy helmet.
I don't know. Situation's just beautiful. I love that suit.
So
Ganda
that's
ng
in
It's the bike.
Alabang in the early 2000s, and wala pang Petron dyan sa Alabang sa likod ko. No, there's a Petron.
What's
there.
that? A Fireblade?
No, that's an SP1, Honda VTR SP1.
VTR.
That's a V-twin.
Whoa.
Honda,
Yung ano,
Whoa.
Honda created that bike to beat the legendary iconic 916 Ducati 916, and they did.
Nanalo yun sa ano,
Honda
diba? World
won.
Superbike.
Correct. Under
ano?
the hands of Colin Edwards.
Colin Edwards.
He
Ay,
beat Troy
andito yung,
Bayliss on that bike.
may poster ako nandito. Ito sa likod ko.
Yeah, that's the one.
You
Poster ni
nerd.
Colin Edwards.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. So Honda built the SP1. It was a V-twin super bike to challenge Ducati because they felt, we can.
Ducati, masyado ng ano eh. Tara, tapatan natin ng V-twin din.
Yes. Oh,
That's
tapatan
crazy
natin,
because
parang ganon.
they're still using the VTR name for small CC.
Yes, they do.
He used to
but
have
now
a
they're-
huge VTR pala.
But now in World Superbike, it's a CB. It's an inline 4, and in MotoGP, it's a V4. What they call the RC213V, 213VS, which is what Mark Marquez and these other guys are using now. They're all V4s.
Tap. Ano bang, yan.
Oh, well, that's okay. If you zoom into that picture, that was taken sometime in 1996. Okay. That is a 1994 or 1995 CBR 900RR. You can see during those days in 96, yung GoPro nyo na ginagamit nyo, I had a video cam, a small Sony video cam. I got a little square foam box. I cut it up in the center and I taped it over my tank. So we were doing onboard videos in 1996. You can see in the picture. See that strap, the tape? So I was doing videos, high-speed rides there. That's in Tagaytay, Nasugbu. We were...
High 8 yan, no?
OG kamote.
Yan ang OG. De, motovlogger yan. Iba na OG.
OG motovlogger.
That's Toga. So, I'm just gonna
1996.
call that. That's Toga
Naka-leathers na kami
riding.
nun. Naka-leathers na kami nun.
Where did those videos ever get into magazine, like VHS magazines, or that was just for you and your friends?
No, I think we had them in VHS. We converted them to VHS, but I know we have them here. I know we have them somewhere. In fact, I have some friends who still have the video. Actually, they kept it in their archives. They have it.
Oh my gosh, let's digitize that and
Yeah, it's
publish
on
it
board.
anonymously.
Going down Nasugbu, we were like doing Isle of Man. Going down with the camera there, hitting way over whatever
I'm
speed.
sure you were trying to follow close to like get a good picture of the guy in front of you.
Oh yeah. I purposely follow close, and you can actually I position the camera in such a way that you can see the speedometer. So if the
Oh,
speedometer will
okay.
show 220, 230, 240, to stay there,
Bichara!
it will stay there.
Stop it!
It's in that video. 1996 pa.
Buti
my
na lang,
God.
wala pang ano,
Well,
wala pang
a couple
Wala
of
pa.
things. I just want to say that one, in the 1990s, it was a different time. You don't.
Yeah.
It wasn't as crowded, and obviously you have matured over, and you're a much
Correct.
safer, much more responsible rider.
Yes.
And
yes.
in the pictures, you're wearing full gear.
Yes.
You are one of the best riders around. So
Thank you.
and
And
also
safe.
without that videotape, there is no evidence. So
hindi namin
everything that
post
you're-
sa Facebook.
Hindi na
did-
post sa Facebook, and there's no evidence. So there is no one who is criminally liable for anything. Plus, you also have the statute of limitations. It's been a while. So yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
putting that discllaimer out there.
I had
Yeah,
no
thank
idea
you.
Bichara was gonna say that. But I don't know. He seems relaxed and
No,
candid
but you know,
right now.
it's that was like what Iba said. That was a long time ago. There were no cars on the road. That's out in the province. I mean, it's like probinsya yun eh. Nasugbo,
In a
probinsya na
different
yan.
time.
Yep.
It's a
Completely
different time. Hard
Yeah.
now. You can't do that. It's just too dangerous.
Naka-traffic
I'm
na ron.
scared. I mean, riding out of town now and going
Oh,
fast. It's so scary now. It's so scary.
Paulo Arespa Cochaga said, I taught Miguel how to ride with full gear.
Hoy, that guy does wheelies. Hoy, Paolo nagwi-wheelie yan, walang helmet.
Ah!
Delikado yun.
Oo.
Lag,
Buhat,
lag,
buhat.
laglagan tayo.
Susumbong kita sa boss
Anyways.
mo.
Next photo. This is the culmination of your love affair with Honda. This is the R.
That's the RCV 213V. Okay. That's owned by Wheeltech. That's the only MotoGP Honda here in the Philippines. Okay.
Oh.
That bike is very expensive. Okay. I tested that bike for C Magazine because I'm a road test editor for C Magazine also. So they asked me and Superbike champ Raniel Rasuelo to test that bike. Only two guys tested that bike here the first time. Okay. It was a Wheeltech event, and Honda, there were Japanese engineers there, and this guy Raniel is really funny. He goes, I told him, Raniel, ikaw muna mag-testing ng bike hindi, sabi niya, no, Kuya Migs, ikaw na. Sabi ko, bakit? Para mas scuff yung gulong. That was in BRC. Gusto niya, para mas scuff yung gulong, para pag gamit ko next, naka-scuff na yung gulong. Talaga, this Raniel, smart guy. So I was the first Filipino road tester to test
RCV.
that RCV, and I think that bike is worth over 15 million pesos. It's
Wow.
an RCV 213VS. It's based on the 2016 MotoGP Honda of Marc Marquez. More than 15 million pesos yan. So the owner was there of Wheeltech, and there were Japanese engineers, and I asked the Japanese engineers, how fast can I go? And he was saying, rev limit, break in. Wala, may rev limiter pala. But it was the best handling bike I've ever tested. It's actually a MotoGP bike. Everything is carbon fiber. They're using titanium screws, bolts, and nuts, magnesium wheels. Mahal.
And a
Mahal
lot
yung
of
bike
aids.
yan. It's actually a MotoGP with lights. It's a MotoGP bike with lights.
So road legal pa rin yan.
Road legal yan,
Yeah.
May rear fender sa likod, May tail light.
Extremely limited
Lalagyan
though.
ng plaka.
Palagyan ng plaka. Tanggalin mo
Nilagyan
yan. Tanggalin mo yan. That was in Batangas Racing Circuit. It was a Honda test. They wanted me and Raniel to test it. So, and I was lucky to be the first one to test it. And I heard the owner whispering to me, Miguel, 15 million yan. Or actually, he said more. I'm just saying 15. Miguel, mahal yan. Ingat lang. So don't worry. Don't worry.
Anyways,
I won't-
guys, I'm really sorry. The photos don't seem like they're in chronological order at all anymore. They used to be. But if I think like the right bike to bring right after this is the H2R, if you've got that.
Well, the H2R
Yung ano,
is
yung number 17.
that H2R. Okay, that H2R is the only H2R in the Philippines. Okay, also owned by the owners of Wheeltech. Okay, that is a story also because being part of C Magazine, so these guys called me and said, Miguel, testingin mo yung H2R. Okay, they sell the H2s. The H2s are like 1.4 million. Okay, 1.3, 1.4 million. This is an H2R. Ere. Okay, the H2R doesn't have headlights. Okay, it comes with slicks, and it comes with 200 over 200 horsepower. Ang power niya. Okay,
Track bike specific.
it's truck bike.
Truck-
It's truck
Pang
bike.
track lang, oh.
Supercharged. Okay, in fact,
And then it
there's a
can reach
video.
300. It can reach 300
Of
kilometers
course,
per hour.
excuse me. Of course not. That bike, there is a video. If you Google H2R top speed, there is a guy named Ken Sufuglu. He is a world super sport champ. He's Turkish, Arabo, like me, Arabo. Anyway,
It didn't reach
He-
300?
no, excuse me. He hit 400 kilometers per hour on a Turkish bridge that hasn't been opened yet. It was a Red Bull event. You guys can Google it in YouTube. You guys go to
I still
YouTube
haven't
and
seen
then
that. That's
type
insane.
400
Quiz.
H2R, and it's a Red Bull event. He hit over 400. He had a
400?
camera. 400
Ano yun?
kilometers on the H2R. Now, this bike can do 400 according to the Japanese Kawasaki engineers that were here when I tested it. But you
That's
have to
insane.
change the ECU. The ECU must be replaced for it to do that.
Ano
So
yung sound
anyway, they
barrier?
called
Di ba
me.
300 lang? 330 yata.
The sound. What is the sound barrier? Someone bring it up. Someone look it up and bring that up. It's like
Yeah, bring it
700.
up. Go to YouTube and then check that H2R of Ken Sufuglu and over a
O,
bridge.
sabi
and
din ni Bing, 400 daw eh.
400 yan. Okay, but this bike I tested won't do 400. It will do over 300 easy. But it's hard to do it in BRC. So again, they called me. They called me and another guy. Okay, they called me and Dashi Watanabe. Okay, because Dashi was racing a Kawasaki. So Dashi, same thing. These guys, these super bike champs are so smart. I told Dashi, Dashi, ikaw na mag-testing muna, ikot mo na yung bike. And then there was James Deacon was there for a drive, his segment. C Magazine was there also. So they had cameras, everything. And then they asked, I told Dashi, ikaw na muna. You go out. He said the same thing. Kuya Migs, ikaw na lang muna, ikot mo yung
Kuya
bike.
Migs.
Yeah, naman, ako na
Same
naman.
thing, same thing. Warm
I
up the
hated it.
tires,
They make-
stuff them for me.
Yeah, because the tires were new. The tires were brand new. So I had to take it out and scuff the tire and take it easy on the bike. And I took it out for several laps. And whoa, if the bike didn't have traction control, didn't have a wheelie control, didn't have all these electronic aids, maybe I would have crashed the bike because the bike is extremely powerful.
Damn.
That's a 300 almost 300 horsepower. Yung bike na yan, the H2R. Actually, I want one. I want to own one. Sana. I want to own one.
Hint,
I want to-
hint. If anyone can sponsor Bichara's H2R.
You know why? Look at that Kawasaki. Look at it carefully. It has a trellis frame. It has single swing arm. It is supercharged. Okay? Single swing arm, trellis frame, supercharged.
At
That's
saka yung H2
not like
yata,
any
ano eh.
other Kawasaki. I'm telling you, that's a bike to own. Okay? That bike will be a bike to own in the future.
Alam ko yung H2, ano na siya eh, hindi na siya manufactured ng heavy industries ng Kawasaki. Alam ko yung aerospace na yung gumawa na eh.
Wow, that's
the
crazy.
company. That's true. The
So, the
company
aerospace
that
division.
manufactured this bike is the same company. You can check that made the Japanese bullet train, the Kawasaki bullet train. Sila rin ang gumawa yung motor na yan.
That's amazing.
Hindi na siya leisure bike.
I will take this time to say that the reason that everyone, whenever a hyper bike or a super bike or something extremely powerful or extremely expensive comes into the country, they go to Bichara first. He is, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinions, the best motorcycle writer, reviewer, journalist in the country. Like
Ako.
when I read your articles, it's so well informed, and you have your history with racing and like seeing the progression of technology. I read that in your articles, and it's something no one else can offer. Like all of like the crazy advanced rider aids, you know how they all work, and you can say like last year it was different, 3 years it was different, and that's why you're the best, and that's why everyone goes to you for this stuff. Let's
Well-
let's rewind it back to show how legit you are. Can we bring up the
11.
NSRs? We're gonna time travel. Sorry, the chronology has been lost. But this is no,
Okay.
not that. The NSRs. The NSR and RS.
Saan yung NSR? Teka lang. Wala yung NSR dito.
Oh no, I cry.
Wait lang. Di, sige, pag-usapan yung muna yung Senna.
Dino Santos says he's a treasure of knowledge. It's absolutely true. And he retains it
Yeah.
too.
Yan muna,
Okay.
yung 11.
Anyway, let's check this out.
That's a 2006 or 2000. Oh no, sorry, 1996 or 1995 Ducati 916 Senna. That's an Arton Senna edition. Okay, that was owned by my late brother. Okay, he bought that from a diplomat from Malta. And when he saw the bike, because a friend of his said, you know, Rafi, there's this gray 916 parked in this friend's house. My brother goes, a gray 916? There's only one gray 916 in the internet that they, I mean, you know, the gray 916s, Ducati 916s are the Arton Senna edition. I don't know what it is, but it's gray also with red wheels. My brother goes, oh my God, that could be a Senna. When he went there, he went to the residence of that diplomat. The diplomat had a Harley and the Senna, and he was selling the Senna because the Senna was just too, for the Philippines, the heat, the traffic, you know, it's just too much. He would prefer to use the Harley. So, yung
daily
nakita
bike.
ng kapatid ko yan, binili niya. Binili ng kapatid ko yung 916 Senna. That's a very rare bike. I'm so sad that we sold it. Oh my
I
God.
know you were looking for one. I heard that you were looking for one, and that's why you got a 998, right?
Yes,
Yan ba
I
yung
found
ano?
one. I found the
Yan ba yung
2002
napunta kay
998
ano?
Christine. So I'm
Nakita ko yung
restoring
bike
it
na
now.
yan. Si Love yata may Senna din eh. Or is it the
Sa
same
akin
bike?
yun. Sa akin galing yun. There's only one in the Philippines, and it comes from us, from the diplomat to us. The one that
Buy
went to
back.
Love to Victor Velasquez to Julian Goich and all these guys. It all comes from me.
Buy back mo
Well,
na
if
kay
anyone knows
Love.
where it is, let us know.
It was brought in. Okay, there's a story there. Okay, it went to another person now, and that other person brought it to Ducati Philippines for repair, and I think he never paid for the bill. So Ducati Philippines, parang storage fee and all that, wala na. I think
Lolobo na
sayang, the
lolobo
bike
yun.
parang ginamit yung parts. Sayang,
Nakahoy.
wala na. It's gone. Sayang. It's in pieces. It's in pieces.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Someone Sergio says Miguel should do his own YouTube channel with all his knowledge of motorcycles. I agree.
Ay, may magandang ano tayo, may magandang question
Thank you,
tayo.
Serge.
Galing kay, wait lang, saan yung question na yun? Oh my, nawala yung question. Ayun, galing kay Jim Trinidad. Kasi nabanggit kanina natin yung Z1. Ang question niya is, how does the Z1 compare to the Kawasaki that Tom Cruise used in Top Gun?
Okay, the
GPZ?
Kawasaki, yeah,
Yung
the
GPZ 900.
Okay,
ibang
Jim,
era siya.
Ibang era yon, mas modelo yon.
Yeah.
What Tom Cruise used was a GPZ 900R Ninja. The first Ninja. They call it Ninja. Okay, he made that bike famous using it without a helmet. That
I
was a
can't hear
GPZ
you.
900. That was a GPZ 900R Ninja. The Z1 was different. It was a 903 standard naked bike, 4 cylinders, 4 pipes, in the early 70s. So the Ninja GPZ 900 was it's a newer bike.
Yun. Nako,
I think now in the latest Tom Cruise movie, he's using an H2. The
H2,
new,
yung sa
yeah, the
nakita
new
nila.
one is an H2. It's Kawasaki again, but it's an H2 now.
I like how they kept it.
Top
Anyways,
Gun, the
next
new
shot.
Top Gun.
Sige,
Arthritis
11
na kaya
point.
si Tom
I'm
Cruise?
so sad about the NSR pixels. Were so cool.
Yung ano, bibigyan kayo yung 11.5. Hindi ko mahanap yung NSR na picture pero may nahanap akong pahabol.
Okay, that's an Aprilia. Okay, I used to race for Ultra Bikes Network. Ultra Bikes Network. I think that was in 2000, sometime 2003, 2004. They were Ultra Bikes Network was the Aprilia distributor here. Okay, they had that Italian guy named Tony Tanda. He's Italian. He was the guy in charge here, but it was Mr. Guzman, the owner, who was the owner of Ultra Bikes Network, and they sponsored me. They asked me, Miguel, would you like to race an Aprilia? I said, yeah, you mean you'll supply me a bike? Yeah, we'll supply you a bike. We'll supply you the crew. You race it. But we'll ask you one thing. Since you'll be racing an Aprilia, can you buy an Aprilia from us? We'll give you a good price. So I says, because you'll be racing an Aprilia and coming out in the newspaper and all that, then you're using a Japanese bike. So I says, okay, I'll sell my bike and I'll give in to your request. But yeah, you supply me a race bike, you have all your team. And so I was racing that, and yeah, fully sponsored. They bring the bike to the track, and eventually, sayang, Aprilia went to different, from Ultra Bikes, naging, I think, Grand Star. And then Grand Star, naging, I think, Biker Box now. Which
Nong said that when the Aprilia showroom was along Pasong Tamo. Is that what you're talking about?
correct. Yes, that's the one. Ultra Bikes Network was located in Pasong Tamo, which is now called Chino Roses Avenue.
You really rep almost every single brand there is.
Actually,
That was a
pagkatapos
V12.
tayo dito sa mga pictures natin, parang halos lahat ng anong brands na sakyan ni Miguel.
Yeah.
Sige, ano naman? Bianca, yung number 12 na picture. Ano tayo? Talon tayo sa medyo mas contemporary. Balik tayo sa Japanese.
Okay.
Limited edition too.
That's a 2016 R1. That's a crossplane engine. That is my favorite inline 4 motor because of the crossplane sound of the engine. When you say crossplane, the firing order of the inline 4 is different. It sounds like a V4. Okay? Did you know that crossplane inline 4 engine stemmed from MotoGP, from Valentino Rossi's race bike? Okay. When Valentino Rossi was racing in the early 2000s, he was using a YZR M1 inline 4 that sounded like an ordinary Z1, ordinary CB 1000RR, yung tunog. Valentino Rossi was having a hard time with mechanical traction. When you say mechanical traction, yung traction sa gulong sa likod. Why? Valentino Rossi was challenging guys on V4s, V4 Hondas. That time it was a V5 Honda, V4 Ducatis, the Desmo Sidicis. So the V4s, okay, have a mechanical traction that was different from the inline 4. So Valentino Rossi was complaining that his YZR M1 didn't have mechanical traction like the other MotoGP bikes. So his engineer, Jeremy Burgess, simply said, we'll change the firing order of your inline 4 engine.
Okay? Yung V4.
Yun. Pagpalitan yung firing order na yon ng inline 4 engine, which they call crossplane technology, he was winning. It now had the mechanical traction that he wanted. And that stemmed all the way. You know, it went down to...
Was that the ano ba? The era nung ano? nung
It trickled
after
down to
ni
Schumacher.
Rossi sa Ducati, di ba lumipat siya sa Yamaha from Ducati?
Yes, lumipat siya
Could
from
it
Yamaha to
be that?
Ducati and then went back to Yamaha.
Okay. So parang bale,
Lumipat
hindi
siya.
kaya yan dahil kasi nasanay siya dun sa
So here's a
ng
technical
Ducati.
question. Why is mechanical traction in the engine desirable?
You need it for MotoGP, for feel, for traction. Because think of a V-twin engine. Okay, you have that sound.
Pulses
So you
yung
have
ano,
that the tire grips on tarmac. Then you have the 4-cylinder howl. Sounds like a dog barking.
And it's so smooth, yeah.
It's too smooth. So they wanted that firing order
Yung
of
pulses,
a V4. The pulses, correct. The pulses. They got it with changing to a cross-plane engine. So that's why I love the inline engine of the Yamaha R1s, the MT10. When you put a beautiful sounding exhaust, the sound, oh my God, fantastic. They sound like
yung
V4s.
yung ang inline 4 kasi Jenna, ang typical Japanese na inline 4, ano yun even dun sa 360 degrees ang firing order niya. So parang bale kung umiikot yung gulong, equal yung bigay ng power. Yung mga
Correct.
Ducati kasi yung mga twin V4 hindi siya bigay. So
Yes.
ano yun ang ikot naman ng gulong hindi naman siya like smooth talagang pulses siya.
Pulses.
Ang V4
correct,
parang
correct.
parang bihira pero violent yung mga bigay ng power.
Yes, it's sudden. That's why you have high sides, and all that. Sometimes the power
So
comes
they can
in, not
feel
like the V.
so they can feel what's happening like under their butt a lot better.
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
yes.
Which is what they call mechanical traction.
Pero yung
Sa
downside,
gulong,
dapat
sa gulong.
super galing talaga ng rider
Thank you for
para
that.
makontrol yung power.
Yeah, well, you have to be a MotoGP god to do that. I mean, to feel that. I mean, for people like us, we don't.
Kasi kahit yung mga MotoGP riders, they make mistakes pa rin. Nakikita mo.
Of course, yes.
Si Leo Dino, gusto nang bumili ng superbike.
Kunin na yung NSR ng mekaniko niya. Tapusin mo na yung helix mo, Leo.
Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, next time, 14. Yum.
Okay. That's where I captured my 2008 Philippine Superbike Masters Class Championship in BRC. I won that year. I was the champion. I'm using a 2006 Suzuki GSXR 1000. Okay. That was, that bike. That bike was iconic also. I mean, it was the best inline 4 Japanese bike in 2005 and 2006, to a point that you know what happened? BMW, if you read the history of the new BMW S1000RR, the new BMW now, okay, the bike that came out in 2010, BMW, or 2009, BMW S1000RR, the double R in 2009, BMW got a Suzuki GSXR 1000 and used it as their base. Okay?
They reverse engineered it for the
platform.
S1000RR.
They reverse engineered it for the S1000RR. So the S1000RR in 2009, 2010 was based on a Suzuki GSXR 1000. Why? The BMW engineer said, what is the best Japanese bike in the market in 2006? It took them 4 to 5 years to develop it. They said Suzuki. So they got a Suzuki and they re-engineered it. And that was the basis of the BMW S1000RR. That's
I did
trivia
not
right
know
now.
that. That's so
Yep.
cool.
Ito yung sinasabi nila na talaga, no? Na early 2000s talagang dominated siya nung Suzuki GSXR. No?
Yeah.
Si Leo
that
Dino.
bike I had there in the photo, I had to convert to Brembo calipers, forged wheels, exhaust, gearing, everything. That was a fantastic bike. But remember, those bikes never had traction control. You don't have slide control. You don't have wheelie control. Walang ABS.
Wala pang electronics masyado.
Not like the bikes we race now. We have all of that, and you can switch it to your own setup. It's
Miguel,
the technology now is a lot
we've
better.
got a convert. Leo Dino is now asking deeper questions. Sir Miguel Bichara, question. What would you recommend budding starting riders who want to ride track super and hyper bikes?
You guys want to ride?
Riding muna kayo.
You guys want to ride track? Start with a low CC, a middleweight bike, something light, something easy to control. Don't move into 180, 190, 200 horsepower machines right away. Don't. Start with low displacement bikes, maybe a 400, then move up to 600. Start slowly. Get the
Oh, may
feel.
for sale ako,
R3
may
right
for
now.
sale ako.
Ayun, and si Joseph Yaranon is saying, galing talaga mag-explain ni Coach Miguel. And then Ryan Blanco,
And he is a coach. He is a certified instructor, by the way.
sobrang gold mine of information tong episode na to. Yan.
Oh, si
It
Dino,
literally
may
is a
nire-recommend
gold
si Dino.
mine every single
Ah,
time.
wait. Actually, Leo, the RC390. Definitely
Dino,
a
Ayun.
great
of course.
That's right.
I agree.
That's
sport
Oh,
bike.
or even-
Agree.
Oh, perfect
The
na sabi
RC200.
ni Miguel.
Yeah, you start with a 400. Exactly, that's what I meant. Like the RC390. That's an inexpensive motorcycle. And
Get yours
Perfect.
from
Locally made
KTM
pa.
Philippines.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's locally assembled locally. So, they're good bikes. Start with that first. Then you move up to a 600,
By the
Then
way,
when
you
you're-
think Bichara only owns the best of the best? There was a time he was rocking a Duke 390, and it was
Yeah,
black.
I used to have an RC390, not an RC. I had a Duke 390. I love the
Yeah.
bike. I regret selling it. Nalalaspag lang sa akin kasi yung makina. Sayang.
Laging
Naging
nakabira.
high rev.
Pero I regret selling it because I personally bought that bike precisely for the reason na, I cannot own a scooter here in Alabang, because if you own a scooter, you want to go to Makati, where will you pass? Service road? I don't want to pass the
Yeah.
service road on a scooter. I buy an expensive Italian scooter, and then I can't even use it on the expressway. Kahit 300cc scooter, bawal, hindi ba? So, what did I do? I bought a Duke 390. Sinet up ko, custom paint,
tama.
everything. When I have to go to Makati bigla, I even went to work with it once. And Skyway lang. Wow, sarap. And go home. Safer. The Skyway is the
Hindi
safest, or the
overpowered.
highway. Safest
Jim-
road network. I don't want to
Jim
pass the
Trinidad.
service road. Ayoko duman sa service road. No way.
That's dangerous. See, Jim Trinidad is saying that the RC390 builds riding confidence. Yon.
It's a very good handling motorcycle. And pare sa presyo. Come on.
By the
check
way,
how much they cost. Check how much they cost. You'll be
Magkano
surprised.
yan, Sir Dino?
hey guys,
May
everyone.
Tunay Na Rider discount, ha?
everyone
Yung code
everyone
ni
is
Maleo.
like, so everyone in the comments is like, wow, all this knowledge, all this gold. Like, if you actually want to learn as Bichara, as your coach, you can sign up for Ducati riding experience. He is an instructor there.
Well, yeah. Thankfully, Ducati Philippines needed instructors to teach. So they had 10 instructors trained. We were 10. We went to Thailand to train. And out of the 10, 5 failed and 5 made it. And this is for instructor training. And you know how it is when they teach you, okay, how to teach. They teach you how to teach, okay? The instructors themselves now will sit down and watch you teach them. So you have to do theory and explain it and ride the bike, the actual course. When we had this classroom at the end of the day, several days yan, in Thailand, they told us, okay, all these names we have here, please step out of the room. So they mentioned people from India, Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, Thailand, other countries, okay, Malaysia. Okay, one of them they mentioned, Miguel Bichara from Philippines, step out. Toti Alberto, step out. So, they made us step out. So we were all thinking, puta tayo ang bumagsak. They made us step out. And then after that, they told us to come in. And then, kaya pala, they spoke to the people privately in the classroom, bakit kayo bumagsak? So, and they told us that the guys we stepped out are the guys that made it, are the only guys that made it. So we're about 5 instructors at that time. So now we have more instructors now, but I hate the word. but I'm a DRE senior instructor. I hate senior. Okay, I call it senior. Not
Yari.
because of my age, not because of my age, punyeta. Because of being the seniority, being the first DRE, what they call Ducati riding experience instructor.
I
So
highly
I've been
recommend
teaching.
it.
I've been teaching.
I think it's a
You
good.
learn emergency maneuvers, like real road skills that will help you with the chaos of the Philippines, as in like
Yeah, it's a
avoiding
basic.
obstacles, really hard braking. Like they'll force you to do emergency stuff.
It's a basic course. Actually, I've taught a lot of even ladies. You're one of them, Jenna. Even Ia Arellano and this news. Many of them, some of them don't even know how to ride. All I ask is, do they know how to ride a scooter? They say, yes, I know how to ride a scooter. Okay, so at least they know. Some of the girls, I ask them, do you know how to ride? Because they don't know how to ride a big bike. But I ask them, do you know how to drive a car that's manual? Then they say, yeah, I know how to drive a car that's manual. Okay, I tell them, same principle lang yan. It's a manual car, you have your gas and your clutch. So you hit the clutch, you shift, and then you let go slowly. So the same thing sa motorsiklo. When you shift, let go slowly. So they get it right away. But the ones that are medyo hard to teach are, they only do scooter, but they don't know how to drive automatic cars and manual motorcycles. But you know what? At the end of the day, they're riding an 800cc or a 400cc scrambler. So
Yeah.
the DRE, that Ducati riding experience is good for, it's good. It's a basic course and it's a safety course as well.
It
So
is a
I
safety
just
course.
wanna
Yeah, that's why I like
do
it.
I just want to bring up that there's so many people here. Direct Bing Bassett. We've got Dino Santos saying you taught his son how to
What?
drive
Dino?
both a car and a motorcycle. And
You
Coach Joey
taught
Storm, you taught
Yes.
Coach Joey,
Yeah.
and he's passed that knowledge along. So
Hi,
I mean, the
Joey.
impact on the motorcycle world in making it a safer place. You are directly responsible to a lot of people. And somebody here just said, Direct Bing just said, Miguel as my coach saved my life. So maybe we can talk
Wow.
about like how do you educate yourself as a rider? What are your thoughts on that? How do you become a safe and responsible rider? And when do you use the sport bikes to its maximum capability?
Well, to become a safe rider, it's, your mind has to be like a computer. You have to, it's not just having sixth sense, it's like having seventh sense. Okay, I'll give you an instance. I'm riding my motorcycle. The guy in front of me is riding his motorcycle. I see this car in front of my friend slowing down, not signaling, but he's moving to the left lane. Okay. Obviously, I know. I tell myself, oh man, this guy's gonna make a left turn. This guy's gonna make a left turn. So I tell my friend, I want to tell my friend, we don't have that time, we don't have communicators. I want to tell my friend, don't move to the left, move to the right, move to the right. He moves to the left and tries to overtake the car. The car makes a left turn. My friend hits the hood, boom, flies over, falls, breaks his shoulder, breaks his arm. He's lying down. He almost killed himself. And I already saw it. You see, he didn't see it. All he said is, hindi kasi nag-signal eh. Mali. Don't, just because he didn't signal, you assume. I tell my students, assume you are invisible. Put that in your thick skull, I tell them. You are invisible. They don't see you. Okay, so what do you do
And
when
it's
you're...
true.
when
They
you,
don't sometimes.
Yeah, because every time you get into an accident, what do they say? Pare, ang bilis-bilis kasi hindi ko siya nakita eh. That's their same excuse.
Oh.
So what I tell my students, when you ride your motorcycles daytime, conspicuity is very important. Keep your darn headlights on high beam during the day.
Yeah.
During the day, keep your headlights on high beam. Don't worry about your battery. 55 watts yung low beam, 60 watts yung high beam, 5 watts lang ang difference.
Tsaka LED
Nothing.
na ngayon eh.
May regulator yung
Malakas
electricals
na,
nyo.
oo.
Okay? Why?
Oo.
You have people driving with their cars tinted in front, tinted on the side, naka-shade sa loob ng kotse. Putya, yung low beam mo, useless. Useless. Keep your headlights on high beam. Daytime, okay? At night, of course, low beam kayo. Then when there's no car in front, high beam. But during the day, keep your headlights on high beam. I'm telling you, it's like a bright star. They can see you from afar coming, something bright. You have to be seen. Assume they don't see you. Don't think they saw you. I mean, I'm going to make a left turn. He saw me. Blow your horn. Keep your headlights on high beam. Don't assume they saw you. Imagine yourself invisible. All the accidents I experienced all my life, it's all rider error. They always say, pare nag-left turn ka yung kotse sa harap ko. Pare, kitang-kita. Magle-left turn yun. Magra-right turn. So, assume you're invisible because that's what they always say. Di ko siya nakita, sir eh. Basta bigla, nandito na lang. Totoo yun. Because a motorcycle with weak headlights or no headlights from afar looks like a person standing. Then all of a sudden, nasa harap mo na.
Yep,
Diba?
yep. You're moving
Wow,
at a different speed. So,
Yes.
one,
That's such a
assume
strong
you're
and
invisible.
impactful statement. Like all
You know
the
that in
accidents
the-
you've
you know
seen
that
was
in
all
late-
rider fault.
You know that, yeah, headlights are important. Do you know, keep your headlights on, but keep it on high beam. Really, it's safer. Don't worry about the battery dying. It's not going to die. You have a regulator, okay? Do you know that in the early 70s, they had a brand called Q Switch? It's a pulsating headlight. The headlight pulsates
Like a strobe.
6 times per second. The American cars use them. The American cops use them. You see headlights pulsating. You have lights flickering. But their headlights
Uso
are...
yan sa mga
thinking.
1200 GS, di ba?
Pare,
Mga 1200
wang
GS
naman yan. Iba naman yun. Iba yung wang.
Hindi lahat.
Okay.
Hindi lahat.
Hindi
lahat.
yan, di ba?
Hindi lahat iba.
Iba naman yung mga ilaw-ilaw they put. Well,
I didn't know about this like strobe type pulsating headlight in the 70s.
Yes,
I didn't know
the strobe type, they had this, it's called the Q switch. You put it in your headlight and your 70s motorcycle, it doesn't flash, okay? It
It
just
doesn't
pulsates.
pulsate.
Huh.
That
Hindi
pulsating
niya pinapatay.
captures the
Like
your eye
twinkling,
movement
yeah.
right away. Yes. See, same principle as flashing the headlight in the car when there's, you start flashing the headlight and all that. But this one, it pulsates.
It's
So-
interesting.
And American cops use them in their cars. Their headlights, when they keep the lights flickering, even their headlights are flickering. Same principle. It's for conspicuity, so that you can be seen that the cops are coming. So the pulsating headlight is actually good, but well, they don't make them anymore. But just keeping your headlights on high beam is the safest.
So we've
Well,
got
guys,
a lot
if
of
you're
people.
ever like restoring or
requesting,
resto-modding a 70s bike, you can add that modification to be super era correct in your modification of your 70s bike. That's kind of cool.
You can. You
So
can,
we've got
but you know
people
what?
asking for a second part of this, Miguel. They're getting overwhelmed by all
Yeah.
of this treasure trove of information.
I don't know, it's up
I-
to you. Do you want to come back again? We'd love to have you.
Game.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
fine.
we can talk about like a beginner's guide to sport bikes, right? For the people who
Okay.
want to join, how do they get into the sport? Yeah,
And then
Nico.
finally show the NSR photo.
Iba, may nag-comment galing sa KTM mismo. Ang RC390 ngayon kasi SRP 330k, less 20k hanggang September 30 daw.
Oh, yun. Baka we can get KTM to sponsor this
Mura.
episode.
Mura.
Ano natin?
And
Extend
then
natin yung
may
20
ABS. Those
days
bikes have
off.
ABS pa, so it's safe. May ABS mga
Meron
yan. Oh, hindi ba?
I have a question. Like, whatever. Just wing it. But I do have a question. Like, out of the new bikes that you've been testing, because he's constantly testing bikes. The last time, like, I went to his garage, he literally had maybe like 4 demo bikes. I
Yeah.
mean, at one point he was testing like the RSV4, the Speed Triple 1200 RS, the Multi Strada, the 1290 Adventure.
Yes.
Did I miss anything?
Well,
Yeah, so,
there
like,
were other
what's
bikes. There were other
exciting?
bikes also that I tested, and I tested a 790 Adventure, the 1290 Adventure. I mean, these are awesome bikes. I mean, a lot
What's
of the bikes
exciting
now.
you right now?
A lot of the bikes now are all good. I mean, why? Technology is good.
CBR 1000 RRR. He had that
Yeah.
in his
well,
garage to
it's,
test.
well, no, it was a CBR 1000RR SP2.
SP2.
It's the old one. It's a
Mm.
2000. I think that's a 2019 model. Okay, now there is a newer one now, an all new one called the CBR 1000 Triple R SP. It's a triple R. It's like 1.5 million pesos for that. But it's an awesome bike. Awesome bike.
So what are you observing
Yun.
with like the trajectory of technology, whether it's for the track or like what are you observing about how the market is moving, what they're into, like what's exciting you?
Well, it's mandated by law nowadays in all over the world that all bikes have to have ABS, at least ABS. So a lot of the bikes now have ABS, but of course, a lot of the manufacturers they have one source like Bosch, Nissin, like all European bikes use Bosch, right? Whether it's Ducati, BMW, KTM, Aprilia, they're using a Bosch system, electronic system for ABS traction control, so and so. Some use Nissin, the Japanese bike uses. A lot of these bikes are the manufacturers really have to do it. It trickles down from racing, and from racing, it goes down, trickles down to the public. It makes riding now safer. You know, a lot safer. I've done Sagada with my wife at the back, slippery roads. I could feel my bike sliding, but the traction control is correcting it. It's saving me from making it tuloy. I could see the light flickering in front because you have a light in front that flickers. And the traction control is, and then my wife goes, Han, we slid there for a while. I go, don't worry about it. The traction control is working. Pag wala yan, semplang,
Gusto
I'm
ko yung
telling you.
gusto ko yung parang may certain level of arrogance yung mga bikes ngayon na parang pinapakita niyang nagpa-flash yung ABS or traction control. Parang gusto niya pakita sa'yo na parang, I just saved your ass.
Oh,
wait.
pinapakita lang, pinapakita sa'yo na gumagana. Yun.
Wait, I have
Pinapakita na gumagana.
Wait, we gotta
I have a
pay
controversial
some
question.
bills. So, speaking of motorcycle technology, Buck, what do you think is the most high-tech innovation now?
Oh my God.
Bali wala yung mga technology nyo kung masasakit naman yung mga katawan nyo, no? Tito Miguel,
All
meron
that
ka bang
racing.
Meron ka bang massage chair?
Wala.
Papadala ka ni Buck.
Wala.
Eto, dapat meron ka nito, yung OGAWA massage chair.
Ayun.
Hingi tayo ng discount para sa'yo.
Yun, perfect yan. After long rides, man, nothing beats an OGAWA massage chair, man.
You just
Seriously.
sit, relax, and enjoy. Nax. Pang-refresh.
Sorry, back
To the show.
May asawa naman ako eh. Okay na yung asawa ko. Come on.
I have a controversial question.
Okay.
Is it a myth that traction control can actually make things worse? Like, for example, if you're in a turn in the wet and you feel the rear slip, other people's intuition will be like, I want to save it by gassing up a little bit just so it can drift and then I can correct it. But traction control will prevent that.
No.
Is that
no
a myth?
such thing. No, it's a myth. Traction control, these electronics, they really work. And you have different levels anyway. Okay? You have level 1 to level 8. So 8 being the most intrusive and 1 being the least intrusive. So you can adjust it. And I'm telling you, there's no traction control works. Even MotoGP riders use traction control. There was one MotoGP race that Marc Marquez hit his teammate Danny Pedrosa, okay, at the back, and actually hit the sensor for the traction control.
Yari.
High side si Danny Pedrosa because the traction control didn't work. You see? So you look for that video that in YouTube that Marc Marquez hits his own teammate, and it was a Repsol Honda V4, and Danny Pedrosa flew off the bike. When he powered in the next corner, he got hit, and then he still turned, and when he took the corner, the next corner, he flipped. Why? They found out that the traction control sensor wire was
Got hit.
hit because of Marc Marquez. So
How
it
about
works.
this?
you
Do
know,
you do you see
MotoGP
do you,
riders use them.
do you see IMUs becoming cheaper?
In time, yeah. The inertial measurement unit, yeah, on these bikes,
Yeah.
those are gyros.
Do you
Okay.
think we're gonna see them in like regular regular street bikes instead of
They
the high
are. They
performance
are already. They're on.
Meron na.
They have them on regular
Good.
street bikes. They have them
Sa
on KTM's. They have them on BM's. They have them
Suzuki.
ATM has
Japanese
wheelie
bikes,
control?
Ducatis. Yeah, they do. That IMUs are inertial measurement unit. It's a gyro which you can do cornering ABS. You're taking a corner and a dog comes up. You can hit the brakes while you're in the corner. You won't low side. You won't crash.
Grabe yung grabe yung IMU talaga. First time ako nakasubok ng IMU bike last year, yung Visor na 1050. Grabe yung bike na yun.
Oh, yun.
Tumatayo
Meron din, di
mag-isa.
ba?
Oo. Hindi, iba
So
na
now
talaga
some
ang
bikes.
technology ngayon.
So now some bikes are leveling up. Now there's two manufacturers like KTM and Ducati. They have radars on
Radars
their
naman.
motorcycle.
What are those for?
Okay,
Missiles.
these radars,
Yung susunod na mga bikes may sidewinder na.
it's like a sensor in front. Okay, it can sense the vehicle speed in front of you. So if, let's say you have your KTM or your Ducati, you set your speed at 120. You're in NLEX. The car in front's doing 120. The car suddenly slows down in front of you. Okay, without you touching the throttle, your bike will slow down because it has it has a radar in front.
That was in
Okay.
cars. That's like smart cruise control. So they have that in bikes
they
now.
have
That's
them
cool.
now. They have them now
Autonomous.
on KTM's and Ducatis.
And now
And
you're
they
gonna have
also
motorcycles that
They
now you're gonna have
they can also
motorcycles that
sense.
balance for you, like the BMW. You saw that concept bike that just rides on its own.
Well, Honda has that
Yamaha
also.
had
that
that
it-
already.
Yeah, but it's a concept. It's still a concept. I mean,
Well-
we're talking about bikes right now, and
Yeah.
they have them
If
already. They even
I
have,
gotta pay the bills. One more time. Speaking of technology that protects you, we partnered with NordVPN through Podmetrics for you guys to also enjoy the same experience. They have an amazing promo right now that allows you to get 73% off the 2-year plan plus 4 months free when you use our link in the description and type in the code TNR before checking out. You know, the cool thing about NordVPN is it allows you to access like motorsports, like the Dakar Rally live when it's showing because you can mask your location. So yeah, sign up
Get
for
Amazon Prime.
NordVPN now, and you can also get a 30-day money back guarantee. So what are you waiting for?
Meron akong gustong ipasok lang na question na. Kasi speaking of technology sa mga bikes, kasi undoubtedly, yung mga technology na to, it makes the entire riding experience and the bikes themselves safer. Pero di ba, nagkakaroon ng parang yung mga issue nga, sinasabi nila, that it takes away from the riding experience eh. Parang yung mga bagong generation ng riders ngayon, umaasa masyado na sa electronics. Nawawala yung parang mismong rider skill. What are your thoughts sa ganun?
No, for me, no. It's the electronic. We're in the electronic age. Trust the electronics. We need this electronics because not everybody has the skill level to know how to brake. You know, they made a test.
Mhm.
They got an expert rider to do 60 kilometers to zero braking, hard braking. They measured the distance of a guy doing 60 kilometers or 60 miles. It was in the States, 60 miles per hour to zero. This superbike rider claims I can outbrake the ABS rider. Okay, I can I'll brake from 60 to zero quicker than the guy with the ABS. I'm a superbike rider. So he did it. Okay, they measured the distance. That same rider, okay, went to an ABS equipped bike and got on the ABS equipped bike, went from 60 miles per hour to zero by just hitting the brakes as hard as he can, both front and rear. No need to modulate, nothing. Hit it so hard, he was able to stop quicker and earlier than what he did on the bike that's non-ABS equipped. And that is already a super bike rider. So no, the electronics really help. I mean,
Yeah.
it does help. They wouldn't put it there.
I think this
mean,
conversation doesn't, I think this debate doesn't apply to motorcycles because like human input is just you can't do without it on a motorcycle. This conversation is more in autonomous vehicles, like the whole like Tesla's beheading people. That thing. It's
I mean, they have it in cars. I mean, I had a friend who had a Porsche, and we went to BRC, and then he removed the stability control of his Porsche, and we were sideways all over the place. And I told him, turn on your stability control, pare. We're gonna crash. I said, I'm telling you, he was driving the car, sliding. As soon as he turned on the stability control, he was driving like Michael Schumacher. Smooth all the way, smooth. Not, it works. It works. I mean, these things really work. You know.
All right.
I-
As we usually, thank you again for joining the show, but it's an hour and 20, dude.
Part 2. Kailangan
We gotta do a part 2. But I gotta wrap it up.
eventually.
And this is how we usually end our shows. Miguel, for you, ano yung tunay na rider? What is your definition of tunay na rider?
Yung Tunay Na Rider, a guy who just wants to ride safely and wants to enjoy. You know, riding a motorcycle is different kasi. Ang Tunay Na Rider, iba kasi sa kotse or sa bus or sa truck, you see everything in frames, okay? Everything in frames. In a motorcycle, you feel it. You ride up the mountains, nafe-feel mo yung hangin, nafe-feel mo yung smell ng pine. Sa kotse, hindi mo mafe-feel yan, hindi ba? Puro nasa frame lahat. Yung Tunay Na Rider will want to enjoy riding bikes, visit places, and do it safely. Safely lang. Just be safe.
Yun.
Safe. Okay? Because maraming rider dyan, paglabas, aksidente na agad. Hindi ba? Then they stay.
Oy, kilala ko yun.
All right. Again, thank you for being our Tunay Na Rider of the week. Literally an hour and a half for you is too short. You have to have your own YouTube channel or podcast. We'd be happy to set it up for you. You are truly the OG Tunay Na Rider of the Philippines.
Thank you.
Tito
Thank
Miguel.
You,
Absolutely. Hey,
you,
thanks
Jen.
so
Thank
much
you, Jolly.
for
Thank you,
agreeing
Bob.
to do this.
Yeah.
DNA,
Anytime,
timing na
anytime.
natin.
And shout out to Jevis for helping get him on here.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
By
then,
Jevis.
doing that call out.
our next show, if we had, why don't
Oh
we
wait,
talk
before
about
we
sport
end,
bikes?
can I do one last question? One last promise.
We were already
promise.
wrapping up.
No, just one.
All right, go.
May part 2 pa naman tayo di ba?
When did you co-found Club 200 and why?
It was co-founded in 1994. We were all sport bike riders at the time, and we registered it at the SEC as Club 200 Riders Association Inc. We're all sport
Uy,
bike riders in
Yan ang magandang
1994.
part 2. Yan ang magandang part 2. Imbitahan
So we
natin
were-
mga Club
Actually, yeah.
200.
We
Why
were
don't
a
we
big
do that?
sport bike club in 1994.
Yeah, can we invite Club 2 and your crew and kind of talk about the history and what the club is about?
Yeah, why not? We were 6 founding members, minus 1, my late brother who passed away. So now we're 5 founding members. So-
Awesome. Yeah, that would be a great show. All right. And thank you for hanging out.
Eva.
Jenna is researching an article. That's why she asked that question. She's using our time and yours. to do research.
No, later I'll do. No, I'm doing that separately. Shout out to Andy, my editor. Hi, Andy.
All right. On that note, thanks again, Miguel. Thanks, Jenna, for being our nosebleed co-host, and Jolly for bringing in the Jolly Cakes, and Buck for bringing the sausages. See you next week. And what are we doing next week?
Off-road naman, off-road.
Vinduro.
Oo,
Vinduro.
May usong ano daw ngayon eh. May usong off-road
Hindi,
daw na
hindi
genre ngayon.
Di uso yan. Tagal na yan. Thank you,
So,
OGAWA. Thank you, PNA. Thank you, KTM.
Thank you guys.
Thank you everyone for
guys.
joining us. Sorry if
Okay,
that was
bye.
chaotic.
At Tunay Na
Bye.
Rider ay assuming.